All eyes on Virginia as the top 3 state leaders are at the center of scandal.
Oh, Virginia's in the news again.
First, the governor's strong stance on abortion
The infant would be delivered.
prompted this offensive photo to surface after an apology, and this.
It's not me.
Many wanted him to step down.
You need to resign now.
It's heartbreaking.
Awful.
I think the governor missed the mark on the opportunity to step down.
Plus, the second in line fighting accusations. Hear in detail how the lieutenant governor's alleged victim says she was violated and sexually assaulted.
The allegation is completely false.
Now, the third in line admits he dressed in blackface.
So what now? CBS 6 has complete coverage. Who is next in line? CBS 6 starts right now.
The state capitol controversy is growing. Now Virginia's Attorney General is admitting he wore blackface at a college party in 1980. I'm Candace Burns.
And I'm Rob Desir. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock.
And I'm Bill Fitzgerald. We have complete coverage of the stories, the controversies now engulfing Virginia's governor, lieutenant governor, and as Candace referenced, the state's attorney general. 3 separate scandals now rocking the Capitol. And of course, this is another stunning development. Attorney General Mark Herring admitting today that he appeared in blackface. He said it happened in 1980 at a college party when he was 19 years old, an undergrad at UVA. He said he and several friends dressed in blackface to portray the rappers whose music they were listening to, and that included Curtis Blow. They were going to perform a song at a party that they were going to. Now, here's part of the statement from Herring. It says, quote, "It sounds ridiculous even now writing it, but because of our ignorance and glib attitudes, and because we did not have an appreciation for the experiences and perspectives of others, we dressed up and put on wigs and brown makeup," end quote. Herring also said that he only wore blackface just that one time. He says he takes full responsibility for doing so. Now, all day long, as strange as it is to say, not many lawmakers were willing to comment on Herring's admission.
Yeah, and CBS 6's Cameron Thompson has that statement and spent today tracking down elected officials from both sides of the aisle. Cameron.
And yeah, good evening. And yes, as Bill was saying, it was a really silent day on Capitol Hill. If you were encountering any of the lawmakers in the hallways, they were in, I guess the best way to put it is a stunned silence. Very few wanting to go on the record or talk about this latest scandal rocking the executive. As lawmakers were either in session or arriving at the state capitol Wednesday, news broke of another blackface scandal. This time, Virginia Attorney General Mark Herring admitting that, like Governor Ralph Northam, he too darkened his face as part of a costume when he was younger. No Republicans would comment on the latest admission to CBS 6, and even Democrats were mostly silent, even those who had called on Governor Northam to resign. Should the Attorney General resign?
You'll hear from me later. I just can't talk right now. You sound pretty upset.
In Democratic Senator Louise Lucas's case, as reporters surrounded her with questions, she rested silently against a minivan meant to take her away from them. But her aides didn't have the keys to that car and had to bring in another one. And those that did speak said they were focused on legislating.
It's a matter of perspective, I assume, but this is just trying to deal with the business at hand. And that's what we're doing.
In his statement, Herring said it happened back in 1980 when he was 19 and a student at the University of Virginia. He said he and his friends went to a party dressed in wigs and brown makeup to go as rappers that they listened to. He added, quote, "This was a one-time occurrence and I accept full responsibility for my conduct. That conduct clearly shows that, as a young man, I had a callous and inexcusable lack of awareness and insensitivity to the pain my behavior could inflict on others. It was really a minimization of both people of color and a minimization of a horrific history I knew well even then," end quote. Now, Herring added in that statement that the fact he is contributing to the pain being felt by all Virginians this past week is the greatest shame of his life. Now, one thing he didn't clarify in that statement is whether he'll resign because of this incident. You'll remember he called on Governor Northam to resign because of the governor's blackface incident. Herring says in that statement that in the coming days there will be honest discussions and conversations that will let him know what the path forward for him will be. Working for you in Richmond tonight, Cameron Thompson, CBS 6.
Thank you, Cameron. About an hour ago, we got a statement from the Speaker of the House, Republican Kirk Cox. His statement says the allegations of sexual assault against Lieutenant Governor Fairfax are extremely serious. The Lieutenant Governor, the alleged victim, and Virginians all deserve a full airing of the facts. It goes on to say that Attorney General, he says the belated admission from Attorney General Herring is shocking. he should adhere to the standard he has set for others, or he loses credibility. And that, of course, goes to the point Cam made that he had insisted that Governor Northam resign back over the weekend. Now, meantime, we have gotten new statements from Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax, as well as his accuser, and from that sexual assault allegation going back to 2004.
That's right, Bill. Our Melissa Hippolyte is live with those developments for us this evening. Melissa?
Well, Candace, we just received a brand new statement from the lieutenant governor. In it, he says reading his accuser's statement was painful, and he has never done anything like she suggests.
Suddenly quiet, Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax dodges questions from reporters moments after a woman who accused him of sexual assault in a private Facebook post put out a statement about what she says happened. In her statement, Dr. Vanessa Tyson says consensual kissing quickly turned into Fairfax forcing her to perform oral sex on him at the 2004 Democratic National Convention. She says she never gave Fairfax consent, and she has never spoken to him again after that. Claims that Fairfax has disputed since the accusation was made public Monday.
And there was no inappropriate contact whatsoever.
On Monday, Fairfax said the encounter was completely consensual and that his accuser liked him and contacted him after the encounter.
Everything was 100% consensual. And not only that, the same person called me sometime later and wanted to meet with me, wanted to come visit me. I was still in law school at Columbia Law School, wanted to come to New York City to meet with me, wanted me to meet her mother.
Tyson says she tried to suppress the memory of the incident, but when she saw a picture of Fairfax when he was running for lieutenant governor, the image hit her like a, quote, ton of bricks. She said at that point she felt she needed to tell close friends of hers in Virginia about the incident. She says since her story went public, she feels the lieutenant governor has continued a smear campaign against her, and she wanted to set the record straight. On Monday, Fairfax used the same word to describe her accusations.
We will not only deal with this smear as we've dealt with so many other attacks over time, but we've always, when we've been attacked, been elevated.
While declining to speak on camera Wednesday, in a new statement, Fairfax expressed how important it is to listen to women when they come forward with allegations of sexual assault or harassment, and said at no time did his accuser express any discomfort or concern about their interactions, neither during that encounter nor during the months following.
Now, Dr. Tyson said in her statement she has no political motivation here. After all, she says she is a proud Democrat. She also said this is the only statement that she will be making. Working for you tonight outside the state capitol in Richmond, I'm Melissa Hippolyte for CBS 6.
Thank you, Melissa. And CBS 6 has been looking into the line of succession if all three of these leaders were somehow to step down. Now, they would have to sort of step down in the same time frame for this to happen. But if Governor Northam were to step down, he'd be replaced by Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. If Fairfax were to vacate the new governorship he took on, he'd be replaced by Attorney General Mark Herring. But were Herring to step down, the Speaker of the House, Republican Kirk Cox, would then become governor. Now, you may recall Cox became House Speaker back in 2018 after a House election ended in a tiebreaker, and the winner of that tiebreaker race, which decided the balance of power in the chamber, was decided by a name drawn from a bowl. Now, it may be a while before we have to run through all those scenarios because our political analyst, Dr. Bob Holsworth, says these three, the three top leaders in Virginia, may decide simply to stick together.
Seeing what has happened to the other two people on his ticket, my sense is that Ralph Northam is certainly not going to, leave the governorship tomorrow. I think everyone is really going to try to stay, is my sense.
So the bottom line is, and perhaps most importantly, what are voters saying about it?
Yeah, Bill. So CBS 6's Brendan King spoke to some people today to get their thoughts. Brendan?
Yeah, right now, voters are using words like angry, disgusted, disappointed, embarrassed, describing the details and the controversies across the street from my location here at Capitol Square. Well, many, they tell me, were unaware of the latest revelation involving our Attorney General Mark Herring, that his announcement that he too has used blackface. And one voter told me it's all simple, that they hope that their leaders, that they can trust them, use honesty and integrity, but all these controversies really aren't helping their cases at all. So I asked Virginians today all the same question. Do you believe in second chances? Listen.
Well, like I said, he's been doing a pretty good job, you know, but I don't know. People just so crazy with the past and stuff.
We're in a climate now that's pretty tense already. So any allegations of any racial divide or sexual assault is just very unfortunate.
I've got relatives and friends that live out of the state. They're all emailing me and calling me, what the heck's going on? And who's going to run your state? I don't know.
Certainly more questions than answers tonight. As far as the general consensus here on Broad Street in downtown Richmond, voters tell me that they hope Virginia can move forward soon. Working for you outside of the Capitol, I'm Brendan King, CBS 6 News.
All right, thank you, Brendan. Of course, we've spent days now covering these scandals. You can read and watch all of our coverage at WTVR.com, and you can see another report on all of today's developments coming up on the CBS Evening News with Jeff Glor right after this show. And I'll be back live here for the CBS 6 News at 7, and I'll see you again tonight at 11.
All right, Bill, thank you for your coverage down there. Well, let's turn now to the weather. It was a nice, but cooler day than yesterday. Still, we'll take it here.
But it's February,
yeah.
so absolutely we'll take that. I understand it's going to be a decent night as well, Zach.
Yeah, we're not going to cool down that much tonight. It's still very mild out here. You wouldn't think it. You look outside, it's wet, it's cloudy. We had a few showers come through. And in early February, normally you'd think it'd be kind of a cold night, but it is quite mild. Let me show you the current situation with the rainfall, at least. And the rain's pretty light. It's starting to sprinkle on me out here again, but there's not much to it. Now, north of this warm front, it is much cooler. It's not 70 like it is in many areas south of the front, but this front will continue to lift to the north, so the warm air is going to win out for tonight and for tomorrow as well. Right now, it's 66 in Richmond, 64 Petersburg, 70s down right along the North Carolina line, but low 50s out across parts of the northern neck. And that front, that warm front, will lift north and bring that warmth back into the area as we get into tomorrow. Slight chance for a shower by about 8 o'clock. Again, most of this is going to be out of here. We'll have a break in between and then maybe a few more showers around 11 o'clock tonight. And mild, look at that, 65 degrees at 11 o'clock. You have the colder weather coming in. I'll talk about that and maybe when we can see a wintry mix straight ahead.
All right, Zach, thank you. One of the strongest members of a local high school football team doesn't see the field because he's the team manager. See how he's making this year special for the players, the coach, and even his mom next in tonight's Building Better Minds.
And it's National Signing Day. Lane Casadante will tell us where some local high schoolers are taking their game to the next level. That's in sports.
Well, we just watched the Super Bowl this past Sunday, and we saw it was a crazy game, but it also just proved that it takes more than 1 or 2 stars to win a game because it takes an entire team.
In this week's Building Better Minds, one member of a local high school team made it a special year for everyone.
It's time for Building Better Minds with Rob Cardwell.
It's off-season practice for the Atlee Raiders football team. A time for getting physically fit and learning how to win.
Teamwork is probably like one of the biggest things out of all of it. Teamwork, hard work.
Gabe Sheffield remembers a hard workout like this last summer.
Coach Gray got us in the huddle and was like, we have a new member of our team. His name is Connor.
Connor's mom was worried about him going from middle to high school. He was born with Down syndrome and autism. He was shy, introverted. That's when she talked with Coach Gray.
Her questions were, how can I get him involved? And I'm like, I got an idea.
That idea? Make Connor a member of the football team. As a manager,
we were very skeptical at first if this would work, and these boys have embraced him 100% from the get-go.
With the players treating him like one of their own, Connor started to come out of his shell. It took a while, but eventually he was helping with the equipment and filling up water bottles. He'd join the players for practices, stretching, hitting the blocking dummies. It was easy to see this was making a big difference for Connor.
I think it helped him adapt to high school more better, like help him get more friends. I see him around the hallways and he's like high-fiving all the football players. He's just one happy kid.
I have seen an enormous growth in Connor. He is far more independent than he was before.
Coach Gray believes that Connor did just as much for the rest of the team.
Being part of the team is being part of something bigger than yourself, and I think that's what a lot of the guys experienced this year.
And while many of the players will tell you Connor's their teammate, Gabe is quick to tell you he's his friend.
If I'm having a down day and I see him on the football field or even in school, I'm like, well, you can't even be sad when you see that kid.
Building confidence, building a team is building better minds.
Yay, Connor.
Yeah, I love how, you know, the game and the team helped bring the personality out in him, but what's more, the way the players just embraced him as a teammate. That says so much about those guys.
Everybody is getting something from this relationship. Everybody's helping everybody.
Yeah, great job for those guys. And we'd like to hear about inspiring people in your school.
Nominate someone for building better minds.
Just send an email to newstips@WTVR.com. Nominate anyone you think makes a difference in our local schools.
Now let's go back to the Backyard Weather Center where Zach is enjoying a very mild February night.
Yeah, it is a little wet out here. It's not raining right now, but it did rain a little bit earlier, just some light rain, and it is mild. It's really nice right now, and it's going to stay relatively warm overnight tonight. Let me show you the temperatures from today. Morning low is 46. Once again, we made it into the 70s. Today's high 73, only missing the record by 6 degrees. A record set back in 09. And looking at our current temperature, it's still 66, calm winds. The front is very close to us right now. Areas north of the front are much cooler than the 66 in Richmond. It's 55 in Tappahannock, just 51 over in Kilmarnock, and 53 degrees up in Fredericksburg. You have 70s down south right now. There's a shot there, a Millionaire Cam. It's wet out there. They've had a little light rain as well. Some light rain out in Beaver Dam area out toward Lake Anna as well. Montpelier, Apple Grove, Quail, Goochland area seeing a little bit of light rain up and down 522. That continues out through Powhatan and out near Cumberland. There is the warm front right now. And again, it is cooler north of that boundary. And then this is tied to an area of low pressure across West Virginia and a trailing cold front where those showers continue to develop there as well. Lows tonight will vary from the upper 40s to around 50 to our north, to the lower 60s down south. I think 60 will be our low right here in town. And then highs tomorrow, low 60s north and east here, but 73 in Richmond and mid 70s down to our south. Here's a look at your forecast for the area tomorrow. I do think we'll still continue to have a chance for a few light showers, some around midnight tonight and some early tomorrow morning. A 40% chance through about 9 o'clock in the morning, and then a very slim chance around noon. I do expect a dry afternoon tomorrow and another warm day. Should be a good one. All right, look at the temperature trend. These days are numbered. Only 2 more of the warm days, at least until we get into spring, and we may have something happen later in February, but at least in the short term, this will put a cap on it. And it has been quite a week here. We'll see 40s this weekend, and then early next week, going to cool down again. The overall pattern with high pressure settling in across New England and funneling that cold air down the east side of the Appalachians. Still uncertain as to how much cold air will be in place, but there is the potential for a wintry mix on Tuesday. So there's a look at your 7-day forecast. 2 more mild days, and then it gets cold this weekend. Cold and dry until Sunday night where rain comes in. A good chance of rain on Monday, and then there is a threat for wintry mix coming up on Tuesday. Still a lot of uncertainty there, as you would expect 6 days out. We will continue to look at the latest data and let you know how it looks.
All right, Zach, thank you. Well, coming up in sports, you know today is a big traditional Wednesday National Signing Day for high school athletes. You can find an updated list of all the athletes on WTVR.com, but we're going to show you a couple of the ceremonies coming up next in sports.
Now, from the Geico Sports Desk, CBS 6 Sports Director Lane Casadante.
Good evening, everyone. Today's traditional National Signing Day has been lessened by the NCAA's early signing period, which started just over a year ago. But today was still a big day for dozens of athletes across Central Virginia, and not just in football either. You can find a complete list at WTVR.com. We're going to start at Highland Springs, where the 4-time defending state champs had another huge signing class, likely the largest in the state, including Ollie Jennings and Christian White, who did sign in December. The Springers have 16 players moving on to play in college, and possibly 3 more still to come. Today's ceremony was unusually emotional for several of the players, a testament, according to their head coach, of what a team that might not have had as much total talent as years past still managed to accomplish.
when you have to fight to get where you are and fight to get the scholarship offers that they have the opportunity to amass or gain, then you feel a lot of gratitude or a lot of thankfulness because of what they've had. So this has been a great opportunity for them to kind of just express their thoughts.
At Manchester, the Class 6 state champs have 3 players sign national letters of intent, with a few more still to come. Kevin Henderson is headed to Wingate. Trey Clark will go to Liberty, and Anthony Gray will play at Norfolk State. They join the 3 players, including quarterback Brendan Clark, who signed back in December. Down in Dinwiddie, the Generals had 1 player sign an NLI this morning. Quarterback Kymon Pope staying close to home and will play next season at Virginia State. Pope accounted for almost 3,000 yards of total offense and scored 46 touchdowns last season with 5 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and he scored 2 defensive touchdowns. Up at Atlee this afternoon, the Raiders had 11 seniors sign in track, swimming, lacrosse, field hockey, football, baseball, and softball today, headlined by Isaac Cable, who's headed to Norfolk to play football for Old Dominion. His teammate Ryan Malick is staying in Hanover to play at Randolph-Macon. The Raiders will have 5 more student athletes sign letters in the spring. Tonight, also nearly a full night of college basketball, headlined by the VCU Rams on the road at George Washington. Rams have won 12 of 15 all-time meetings with the Colonials, and another win tonight will keep them on pace with conference leaders Davidson and George Mason, the latter of which is over at the Robins Center to take on Richmond at the top of the hour. Randolph-Macon hosts Hampden-Sydney, and both Virginia Union and Virginia State are home as well. We will update all of these games tonight at 11. The news at 6 is coming right back.
I guess the warm temperatures have to go away at some point because it's February.
Yeah, we still got 2 more good days, though. That's the great news. It's been a full week of it. It's been awesome. Tomorrow, 73. Friday, 72. There'll be some showers tomorrow morning. And then the weekend will be dry and cold, and a little more typical for February. And then we're watching very closely the potential for maybe a wintry mix on Tuesday. But again, I would not stress about that if it is going to ruin something this far out.
All right, Zach, thank you. And thank you for watching CBS 6 News at 6 o'clock. The evening news is up next, and then we're back at 7 o'clock. Enjoy the rest of your evening.